And we are joined with Coach Boyd. How are you, Coach Boyd?
Doing great, Mark. Thank you.
Okay, so we want to highlight your recent trip with your MRFC 04 North team to Eastern Washington. I believe you played Eastern Washington Surf, and then on a Sunday you played ASE. However, the thing we want to highlight from that game was you had injuries leading up to that and how you dealt with that. So leading into the Eastern Washington Surf game, can you tell me how many players you had that travelled?
So we had 8 for that game, Coach Mark.
8 players. And then let's talk about the actual game itself. You know, leading up to it, what were the spirits like of the girls, confidence, and then also how did you tactically set up your team?
So I think with the long travel and then the girls knowing they only had 8 players, they didn't have a whole lot of confidence and were a bit, just kind of there thinking it would be a difficult match. So I tried to encourage them that actually we could play with this team even with 8 players, that we had a good game plan going into it. So I tried to set them up to play mostly a defensive game with a 4-2-1, with a high forward, with a number 9 that was capable of breaking down their defenders. Talked about letting them kind of get comfortable with possession, that we would protect the middle of the field, give them their width, and not panic if they had the ball. Not feel like we had to take the ball from them as much, but make sure that we had good defensive shape. And then when we could counter-strike, that we would go forward with excitement and confidence.
Okay, and I believe the plan got off to a great start in the first half. You took the lead.
Yes.
Just tell me the excitement from MRFC, the North team, in terms of now you had something to hang on for.
So yeah, about 10 minutes in, again, they were kind of pushing everybody up because they were pretty certain they already had the game won. So they were a bit actually disorganized as well because we only had 8 players. So we caught them out of shape a bit. We had just a great through ball to a very fast and skillful number 9, and she was able to break down their 2 center backs and then beat their keeper as well with a great shot. So 10 minutes in, we have 1 shot, we have 1 goal, and it was great. And then my girls actually after that became much more excited. Our energy level was raised, and we actually started to play even better.
So Boyd, just with that, you talked about different energy levels, but you're obviously playing a defensive game. How did you as a coach manage that? Because, it's very okay, when, oh, wow, we're 1-0, we might open up a little bit more, but obviously you're playing up against it with, only having 8 players. So what did you do as a coach to, adjust or just remind them of the game plan?
So obviously I have to do all my coaching from the side because everyone's on the field. So, I just continue to tell them just to be patient, to hold their feet, to allow them to possess the ball, not to panic. The trick too was to try to keep our defensive line as high as possible, and encourage my goalkeeper to play almost as a deep center back as well, to come out and use her feet when necessary. So it was tricky because at times they wanted to go score again. My players did. So we would fall out of our defensive shape. Luckily, my 2 center backs are pretty savvy, pretty smart, and had great recovery speed. So certainly a bit of luck, a lot of frustration on their part, because by then their parents were getting, wanting them to score. So the tension built as the game went on, and by halftime it's still 1-0 us. And at halftime, then I reiterated, hold your feet, hold your shape, we're fine. Interestingly enough, my 2 midfielders both were injured as well, so they were not very mobile. So it was nice that they basically sat in the middle of the field because they really couldn't push wide.
Fantastic, Coach Boyd. And then, of course, after that game, knowing that you've got another game against ASE the following day, and it's not only another game, another full game, it's on a grass field. So what was the mindset and the mentality like of the group, knowing that you have to recharge the batteries and then go again so soon?
Yeah, so luckily I think that they gained so much confidence from the Saturday's game that they actually listened to me, because I talked about having a plan. And we had to bring in a couple guest players for this game who didn't play with us very much. So I wanted them to be encouraged, to them to play their game, and for the other girls to welcome them, because we only had 11v11, and their team had 4 or 5 subs on the bench. So we had grass field, strange surface for us. So I had the girls make sure they had a good touch on the touch and feel for the ball on the new surface, that we hit it harder than we do on the field turf. There was also some wind at play. So I made sure and actually got the wind for us at our back the second half, knowing we'd be tired, having to travel. And then most of the girls played a full game the day before. So we warmed up pretty lightly. We took extra time to talk about the game. We started with a 4-4-2. I wanted to be able to counter-strike with 2. So we played the 4-4-2 in diamond shape when we had possession. If we lost possession, though, I wanted us to make 2 tight lines of 4 to, again, take away the middle of the field for them and to frustrate them. And we were able to do so. This team also had really good scoring chances. We were able to limit their possession in our defensive third. And I think that keeping the 2 up top worked real well because those goals were able to combine. Our goal came, they actually scored first, but we had as many good chances as they did, to be honest. And then our equalizer came probably 2/3 of the way through the second half on a great set piece, on a well-deserved. We were counter-striking and dangerous, and they took one of our players down.
Top, number 4.
Thanks, Coach Mark. Be safe.